Hey, we're online. Okay. Right. Okay then. Right. So, apologies for that. My YouTube just decided to completely throw me out and then delete the video link that was meant to be on the page. So I just had to go and edit the actual website in order to be here live right now. So I'm really sorry I am 5 minutes late. These are the trials and tribulations that I'm having to deal with at the moment with everything changing. Okay, so welcome to the webinar. Welcome to the live training. I don't know who is watching live. I can see a few people are here on the webpage and watching the video. So if you look to the side, if you look to the side of this video screen here, there's like a little chat box. If you can just say hi and tell me who you are, so I know who's watching live, and then I can kind of talk to you rather than just talking to my computer. Right then, let me just give you all a minute to get yourselves set up and sorted. And grab my drink whilst I'm waiting. Right. Okay. So the point of today's kind of live training was kind of just to talk about why you might be struggling to lose weight, why you may be struggling with gut issues, with digestion, with bloating and things like that. I had hoped to have like a little presentation that I could do with you and have some pictures and some details for you. But in light of everything that's happened this week, things have gone a little bit belly up. So I'm really, really sorry. You're just going to have to deal with my face today. I made the effort. I've straightened my hair. I've put some makeup on so I don't look completely frazzled this morning. Right then. So struggling to lose weight. There's a gazillion different reasons why you might be struggling to lose weight. But when I start working with most of the clients that I work with, most of the female clients that I work with, a lot of them present me with issues to do with things like bloating and flatulence and constipation and general areas of gut dysfunction. So I wanted to try and tackle that topic more to the point today, and maybe sort of go into a few other things as well if we have time. I don't want to sort of spend hours on here chatting because I know everyone is really busy. So I will try and keep it short and sweet and to the point. So it's really important to understand from a weight loss perspective, if you're doing everything that you're being told to do, so if you're eating well, if you're moving well, if you're sleeping well, but you're still not losing weight, then there's something underlying that's causing that issue. There's something that's going on inside the body that's kind of stopping that from happening. Now, a lot of people will immediately jump on the bandwagon and say, I don't know, things like they're on HRT, for example. So I get a lot of older clients who say they're on HRT and that's stopping them from losing weight. A lot of people just say, they've got thyroid dysfunction, things like that. So there's always going to be something that everyone kind of goes to as a blame point as to why you're not losing weight. But it's really important to know that in more situations than not, if you're not losing weight, it's not that you're failing to actually do the right things. It might be something that's underlying. It might be something that's going on actually within your gut, something that's going on internally, rather than the diet itself is actually failing you. So it may be that your actual digestive tract, your from starting from here and going all the way through your body, it needs some well-deserved and well overdue attention. Something that I've talked about a lot over the last, God, what, 3 or 4 years, 5 years, maybe longer, is that we've had this huge disconnection from our body. We've had this huge kind of separation from mind and body, but also mind, body, and then food as an additional thing, and obviously exercise as well. Everyone kind of sees exercise as a chore. We don't feel our feels anymore. We don't recognize what's going on with the body. We don't recognize what the body's trying to tell us. And more often than not, we'll see a symptom of something. We'll see like bloating or constipation or diarrhea or reflux or any of these kind of digestive issues, whether it be sort of up in the stomach or gut or down in the colon, on the bowels and things like that. We see the symptom and we go straight for the over-the-counter remedy, the pill. We look for something to alleviate those symptoms, which is fine short term. If you need something because you've got really bad reflux, or you've got really bad indigestion, or really bad constipation, having that remedy, that over-the-counter remedy, is actually obviously going to give you some immediate relief. But what we then do is we kind of over enjoy that immediate relief and forget to kind of look a little bit deeper at what's going on in the body. So when I say we don't feel our feels, what I mean is we're not looking deeper than just what the symptoms are. We only ever really notice the kind of negative aspect of something. We never then explore that any further. We never look for anything any further than that. So we're not looking for the root cause of the problem. The problem with this is, then obviously we then go and say, for example, I'll give you a really bad example as someone who's a nutrition coach. We might get, say, I don't know, trapped wind or belching or something like that, flatulence. And we don't know why we're getting it, and we don't associate it with something else. So then we pick up potentially the very thing that might be causing it. So, say for example, like I've just shown you a can of Diet Coke. If you're taking in a lot of carbonated drinks, that's obviously going to put a lot of air in the body, which could then be causing the problems. So we don't necessarily look for the root cause. I'm not saying that is what's causing your issues, but I'm just, as an example, we don't look for what is causing the problem. Therefore, we then go back and do the same thing again and have the same problem again. And we end up in this kind of vicious cycle where we keep going round and round and round. And that then obviously has that knock-on effect on your mental health, because you just think, well, why does this keep happening? What's going on? So we don't feel our feels. And about 85% of the women that I worked with over the last however many years, 5, 6, 7 years, since I've started working more on nutrition and gut health and overall well-being, probably about 85%, maybe more, have presented with some kind of gut dysfunction of varying intensities. And this can be caused by so many different things. This can be caused by like diet, or the constantly being on a diet. So whether it's actually what you're eating, or how much you're restricting what you're eating, or how much you're overeating. Diet overall, in terms of what food we're taking in, can have a massive impact, a massive effect. Medication. So if you're on any kind of medication, or if you've been on any kind of medication, that can have an impact on your gut health. Illness and infections, malnutrition. Now, malnutrition, we obviously associate malnutrition with people who are, I suppose, starving in a way, like almost like a poverty thing. But malnutrition can be anything from not having a balanced diet and not getting all of the nutrients you need, to having that extreme level of not having any food whatsoever. So malnutrition is quite a big one. Dehydration is another one that can also cause these problems. Anesthesia. So I know quite a few people who've registered for this webinar have recently had surgery. Anesthesia, huge upset to the gut, huge upset to the gut. Drugs, over the counter or recreational or prescription. Drugs have a huge impact. Drugs can really, really mess up with the gut biome, mess up the sort of health and productivity of the gut. Laxatives, I think that stands to reason. Anything that's trying to sort of force things out of your gut at speed is going to have an impact. Alcohol, so-called detoxes, so like these kind of diets that are created to flush the system. I use the word flush because I actually run one of these, not a detox diet. Some people look at it as a detox. It's not a detox. It's better than that. So detox, crazy detox diets, crazy restrictive diets. I said alcohol, didn't I? Stress. So stress is massive when it comes to not just your gut health, but overall general health, your well-being, your immune system health, your endocrine system health, respiratory health, everything. Stress has a massive effect on just the overall body. So if you're someone who deals with like stress and anxiety a lot, then that's something that you may want to address if you're struggling with your weight loss. And I'll come to that in a minute a little bit more. And then we've got things so like environmental toxins, like plastics. You get all this BPA-free plastic at the moment, all the bottles that are coming out onto the market, BPA-free. There's metals in your food. Scarily enough, there's actually mercury in some food, which is quite scary. Then you've got things like molds. If you inhale any kind of mold, or there's very small particles of mold on your food, or things like cheeses, like blue vein cheeses. So obviously that blue vein is technically mold. That can have an effect. Chemicals on your food, chemicals on your vegetables, so pesticides, things like that. And then obviously additives that are actually in your food. So all of the E numbers and things that are put into your food chemical wise to actually make your food last longer on the shelf. They can all clump together and cause this dysfunction of the gut. So, and I think pretty much everyone that I talk to, myself included, can hold our hand up and probably admit to one or more of those things that I've just listed being something that's kind of a regular thing in your lifestyle, in your diet, or in your day-to-day life, and so on. So being able to recognize what's causing your dysfunction, whether it's the food that you're eating, or whether that's then the food that you're eating is exacerbating other things that are causing that gut dysfunction. By the way, guys, if any of you have got any questions, pop them in the comments box over there, the pink thing that says "Is Your Gut Webinar" at the top. Anyone got any questions or anything, just type them in there. You can do it anonymously if you want to, so it'd be really good to obviously try and work with you guys whilst we're doing this, in order to answer any questions if I can. So obviously those are the things that I've just listed that can cause many different types of gut dysfunction. So obviously the symptoms of gut dysfunction are as wide ranging as the actual potential causes of it. Things like bloating, cramping, gas, IBS-like symptoms, constipation, diarrhea, stubborn belly fat that sits around your tummy. I hear this a lot from clients, a lot from people who want to work with me. They've got this stubborn belly fat around their middle that just doesn't respond to dieting or exercise. It doesn't seem to it's stuck there. It doesn't want to go. That can actually be a teller of something going on a deeper level within the body. Hangriness, people who get really agitated by not having food, even if it's only like a couple of hours since they last ate, and they get all this hangry kind of emotion going on. That's basically like a blood sugar imbalance. So this is when things in your body are having a bit of a meltdown and they're not quite balancing properly. So insulin and insulin resistance start to come into things a little bit more there. But also things that you may not actually associate with food or with your gut itself. So things like tiredness, fatigue, lethargy, lack of motivation, brain fog, forgetfulness, memory loss, skin conditions. So you've got things like acne, eczema, psoriasis, rosacea. They can all be triggered by things going on in the gut. And Also, maybe not so obvious, maybe it's a little bit more obvious, I don't know. But things like hormone imbalances, certainly in female clients, hormonal imbalances can have a really sort of a big part in this, gut health. So things like, if you have menstrual issues, menstruation issues, if you have irregular periods or really, really heavy periods or really, really light periods, all of these things can be linked to it. Really, really bad cramps during periods, that can be linked to it. But also more serious things like polycystic ovary syndrome, so PCOS, fibroids, endometriosis, adenomyosis, and even menopausal symptoms, perimenopause and postmenopause, can be linked to gut health. And the other one which comes up a lot is low moods, feeling a little bit unhappy, a little bit low, a little bit down, which, at the moment with the current situation in the world, feeling a bit low, feeling a bit anxious, feeling those sorts of things, probably a little bit more natural than normal at the moment. But low moods, depression, things like that can actually start in the gut. And the reason for that is we actually make our serotonin, so our happy hormone, we actually make that within the gut. 95% of our serotonin levels come from within the gut. So if our gut is unbalanced or unhappy, we probably won't feel quite so balanced and happy. So it's very much a big part of it. But anyway, moving on. So the gut itself, Hippocrates said that all disease starts within the gut, and this is very much largely true. Most things sort of stem from within the gut. What we eat, what our body then breaks down, how it breaks it down, how it absorbs it, how it sorts through all of the different nutrients and the different components of food, has a massive role to play in the rest of our body. So in the rest of our systems throughout the body, how the gut is performing, how the gut is working things out and sorting things out and distributing things out has a huge impact. It basically, like, food is kind of information for the body. Food has this huge role to play within the body. It's not just energy for us to get up and do stuff. It's a lot more than that. So when we eat, we have all these little chemical reactions that go off within the body. And it's things like, it's basically telling them, as the food comes out, all of these systems are telling the body to create more of one hormone or express a certain type of molecule and attach it to that molecule and reduce that particular hormone to stop you feeling hungry and so on. And all these little chemical reactions are going off throughout the body. So if your body's getting like a poor quality of food or like a lesser quality of food or sort of nutrient poor foods, then that's going to have an impact. That's going to change the sequence of chemical reactions in the body. It's going to change the hormones that are being expressed, the hormones that are being made, and so on and so forth. So that's obviously going to have a huge impact on how the rest of the body works. We spend so much time in here thinking, worrying, stressing, all of this stuff, that we forget what goes on down here. And we haven't got a user manual for our body. It's one of these things where we have to kind of just hope for the best sometimes. Doctors aren't always right. Doctors can't always see us. They can't always fix things. So it's down to us to take responsibility for what we're putting in and make the best choices we can. I quite often use the analogy that if you imagine when you buy you've got the computer, you've got the system, you've got the actual sort of physical computer tower screen, blah, blah, blah. But you then need to put the things into that computer, the systems, the downloaded systems into that computer to make it run well. But if you keep downloading lots and lots and lots of crap into the computer starts to slow down. It starts to get sluggish and it stops working so well. The body's the same. Over years and years and years of feeding it crap, it's getting slower and more sluggish and it's struggling even more. And it's screaming out for you to actually help it. So it's quite a sort of telling thing when you have to kind of compare your body to a computer. So if you look below the video, just down there to the side, to that side, I think it is. Sorry, I'm looking on my other computer screen to see where I'm pointing. There is a picture of the gut. And that picture is basically your digestive system. People ask me, why is the brain at the top? The brain has got nothing to do with digestion. The brain is the first part of your digestive system, because even just the sensation of food, the smell of food, the sight of food, the touch of food sets your digestive system off. It starts to create enzymes in the stomach. It starts to produce stomach acid ready to receive food to break it down. So this can be sometimes where things like stomach acid problems, so acid reflux or things like that, can start to be a problem, because if your brain is too active to think about food, you're going to produce too much stomach acid. But then if you're not having food, the stomach acid has nothing to do. So it just sits in there sloshing about until it eventually has nowhere to go. So it needs to move around. And that's when you get your indigestion, your heartburn, your acid reflux and things like that. So things like chewing gum, that can actually increase your stomach acid, because as soon as you start chewing, which is the second stage of your digestion, you then have, again, this reaction where the stomach goes, oh, food's coming, and it starts pumping in all this stomach acid. But really, the first step of digestion, or sorry, the second step of digestion is where it all goes a bit belly up. It's where it starts to go wrong, because we don't chew our food enough. So we'll literally kind of shove food in our mouth, chomp, 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 swallow. And it goes down in like a big lump to the stomach. And then the stomach really struggles to break it down because it's just not been chewed enough. So when you actually start to think about why you're not losing weight, the first step, and this applies in at least 3 of my programs that I run with people either online or face-to-face, the first step to all of my programs is slow down. Okay, we eat and we do everything at such a fast pace that we just don't give the body a chance to actually function properly. So obviously, sort of like step 1 is we think about food. Step 2 is we still put food in our mouth and we chew. And those 2 things are what's then going to produce the stomach acid as you move down. Once food gets into the stomach and the acid starts to get to work, and that's when we start to break it all down. We pull out the enzymes, we pull out the nutrients, and things start to sort of filter outwards. But this is where problem number 2 kind of comes into it. Because the gut, if you actually think of the gut, hang on, I'll grab my big gut here. When we think about the gut, so we've got brain, mouth, stomach, and then we've got like the small intestines, large intestines, and things like that. The gut itself, as it comes around through the body and then out, is like a barrier between the outside world and the inside world. So it really confuses people. When I say, I kind of put this idea to them that the gut, what's inside the gut, is actually outside of the body. That sounds mad, I know, and you're probably thinking, what the hell are you talking about, Lesley? But when you think about it, it makes complete sense. The gut is like a tunnel that starts at your mouth and ends at your bum. And as things go through your gut, through down your esophagus, into your stomach, then round all your intestines and out, none of it that stays within the gut goes within the body. It stays outside the body, but just goes through it. So this is like a tunnel that runs from here all the way down and out. And what the body does is it kind of sorts out the stuff, keeps what it wants, keeps what's going to help it, sends the rest down. The further down it gets, the closer it's getting to obviously evacuating the body. So it stays outside of the body. It never actually enters. And throughout the gut, throughout your digestive system, you've got this really strong structure of cells, this really strong structure of systems in place that need to remain in strong functional order in order to protect your inside body. So things like your heart, your lungs, your liver, your kidneys, etc. It needs to protect those from all of the outside toxins that you put in here, and then they exit down there. But years and years and years of kind of restrictive diets, alcohol, stress, sleep deprivation, all of these different things that have affected the gut's health and the gut's function, they have then obviously damaged this this structure of cells, this structure of protection that runs through your gut. And it's weakened your defense against these toxins. It's weakened your defense against the outside world. So things have crossed over into your bloodstream, into your inside world that shouldn't. Okay, this is when the body starts to react. This is when the body starts to kick off. So we've had all this, like I've said, the exposure to stress, alcohol, poor food, dehydration, all of those things, infections, etc. They're the things that have potentially led to this moment, but it's years and years and years worth of damage. And as these food particles or these toxins, they cross over into your bloodstream, that's when you have this this kind of immune response. Your body goes into overdrive and it starts to produce antibodies to attack these things because they're kind of foreign. The body doesn't want. That's what then makes you feel crap. That's what gives you the brain fog. That's what gives you the low energy. That's what gives you, all of these other symptoms that I've mentioned. Like the skin conditions, the eczema, the acne, and things like that. The hangriness, the stubborn belly fat, because your body's not working well. It's constantly on this antibody kind of situation. So yeah, the body reacts in this way. The body kind of kicks off and goes, no, can't do it. So where was I? All right, yeah. So every meal you eat, every time you eat food, is an opportunity to heal. It's an opportunity to love and nurture the body, or it's an opportunity to send a message of inflammation. And that's kind of the key here. It's our choice to actually decide how we want to feel and how we're gonna respond, how we're gonna behave. And I mentioned a minute ago, like stress. Now, 9 times out of 10, stress is probably the biggest problem that I face with clients, whether it's physiological or psychological. So physical or psychological stress or physiological stress. We get a lot of different stresses coming at the body all the time. And that basically has this potential to throw us out of synchronization. So yeah. Has anyone got any questions they want to throw at me in the chat box at all at the moment? I know I'm just kind of rambling. No? I'll have a sip of water for a second. Okay, so no questions coming yet. Fabulous. Right, so the problem we have, right, with stress in the gut is that stress sneaks up on you without you really knowing. So we know when we're physically stressed, like when we're mentally stressed, we know, at the moment with all of this virus going around and things, people are stressed, people are worried, people are scared. There's something making us feel stressed, and we know about that. What we don't know about, though, is like these ones that come into the body, so these toxins that are crossing over the gut wall into the body, that's causing a stress response too. And also things like just silly things like the temperature changes in the weather. So like if it's a really cold day, like if you go from a really hot room to a really cold really cold outdoors, that can be a stress on the body. Working shift patterns, even though you might be used to working shift patterns, that can be a stress on the body. Waking up in the middle of the night, that can be a stress on the body. One that's really big in the UK, lack of sunlight, vitamin D deficiency, that's a stress on the body. Calorie restrictions, medication, as I've mentioned, anxiety, they're all stresses on the body. And this has a huge impact on how your gut works. And it also has a huge impact on the endocrine system. So we're going into like the hormone production sort of factory, if you like. And we're kind of so accustomed to having these mild stresses all the time that they've built up into one big stress, and our nervous system is almost stuck in this fight or flight situation. It's kind of permanently on. And when this happens, our body can't digest properly. And when we can't digest properly, we can't absorb the nutrients properly, which means we go into this almost malnutrition kind of situation. And that causes a problem, because then when we try and do things like eat a healthy diet and lose weight, our hormones are so out of sync. They're so all over the place. The body cannot balance itself. It cannot adjust itself. And that then obviously means the body isn't going to break down the fat cells. It isn't going to let the fat cells go, because when the body is in a state of stress, our very primal evolutionary kind of pattern, when we're stressed, our fight and flight system, it tells the body not to break down fat. We might need it. An emergency situation might be coming, so we might need to store all of that fat. So when we're stressed, we actually store more fat rather than break it down. So although you may not feel stressed mentally, physically and physiologically, there's a high chance that you are stressed, especially if you're having these symptoms that I mentioned earlier, like bloating and cramping and reflux and hungriness and stubborn belly fat and all those things. There's a high likelihood that you've got physical stress on the body, not necessarily mental stress. So your body is not going to break down fat. If anything, it's going to store it more. Now, this is why I say stubborn belly fat, because when we have the stress hormones, cortisol, at high levels in the body, this signals the systems of the body to store fat around the middle, around the tummy, so in front of your organs as protection. This kind of goes back to cavemen times. So it was a lot of our automatic response systems, shall we say, what happens in the body that we've got no control over, that comes from cavemen, sort of like when we were like Paleolithic, really early stages of human life form, as a protection thing. Fight or flight. We run away from a lion that wants to eat us for dinner. Our flight or fight now responds to the paper being jammed in the printer in the same way that it would respond to a lion wanting to eat you for dinner. The body, the mind can't differentiate stress from paper jam to I'm going to be dinner. This also, like I say, it stores that fat around the stomach. That's to protect your organs. So in the event of that lion catching you, it's got a lot more work to get through the fat in your stomach to get to your organs. But also, if you do get away from that lion and you're hiding, you've got more fat stores to keep you going if you need to stay there for a little while. So you're not going to starve to death. The body can go without food for quite a while. We just can't go without water. So what we need to do in order to actually start losing weight, in order to actually increase the chances of losing that belly fat around the middle, is to try and rebalance the gut, reset it in a way, allow the body to go, okay, yeah, I'm healing. I'm feeling better. I'm not quite so, I don't know, unbalanced, out of sync. I'm not so damaged. I've managed to heal not just my gut wall with all of the cells that are protecting me from the outside world, but I've also managed to rebalance my gut biome and my hormones are working properly. So we always start at the bottom level, which is the gut, which then has an impact on the hormones, which then has an impact on other functions within the body, which will then eventually lead to up here and in your heart. So you want to try and start with the bottom, always start with the gut. And really, when we start to think about rebalancing and resetting and healing the gut, it can be anything. Really, we need to look at the foods we're eating. We need to look at the balance of the bacteria that are in our gut. We need to look at how we can reduce the physiological and physical stress as well as the mental stress. We need to bring that cortisol level down. We need to rebalance the body. We need to kind of reassure the body, you know, give it a little pat and say, do you know what? Don't worry, you'll be all right. The lion's not going to get you today. You can relax. And quite often what I find when I work through this kind of rebalancing system with my clients, with people I work with, their energy levels increase, their mood improves, their concentration levels become much more consistent day in, day out. You know, they've got much more sort of clarity in their head. Toileting behaviors improve. Premenstrual cramps, premenstrual symptoms, PMT gets better. I've even had people who have had conditions like endometriosis and fibroids and things like that who've said that they haven't had the same kind of flare-ups when they've done a balance of the gut, when they've started to reduce that stress, improve the foods that they're eating, rebalance that bacteria, get everything that their body needs. But the other thing is as well, and I mentioned this at the beginning, we don't feel our feels. So we're not recognizing the things that are kicking us into this in the first place. So when we start to feel that cramp, that bloating, that, you know, that energy dip or spike or headache or whatever, we aren't necessarily taking a stock look at what's caused that reaction in the first place. I've just explained that the body is potentially sort of what we call leaky gut. So things are seeping out through the wall of the gut. But what we need to look at in the first instance is what's going in to cause that. How we can prevent that from happening again, how we can prevent that particular thing from leaking out into the inside body from the outside world to stop us from feeling like crap. So we need to look at the cause. We need to look at why. We now know that the gut might be damaged and that's what's making the body react. But we need to look at what's going into the gut in the first place. Why we keep going back and eating the same foods over and over and over and over and over again, even though they make us feel like crap. So, yeah. You're all very quiet, so I don't know if any of you have got any questions. I'm just going to have a sip of water for a second. So if you have got a question, pop it in on the chat box. Because I don't want to just end this and then it will be like you all sort of sit there going, well, how do we do that? So let's have a look. Nothing yet. Okay, so without the questions, I can't really sort of give you any more specifics, apart from obviously sort of reconnecting with your body. But what I will say is, if you wanted to work more on your gut health, on your what's going to fix it, what's going to make it feel better. I've already said that obviously if your body's got stress, then you might not lose weight. Your body's going to have a higher cortisol level, so it's going to store fat. That comes into the gut. If you're bloating and cramping, you're likely to have some kind of inflammation through the gut. That's the stress. You're not going to be able to successfully lose weight if you have got that kind of stress in the gut. Hormone imbalances, stress, gut, struggle to lose weight because of hormones. So when we heal the gut, when we start to work to heal the gut, we need to heal the hormones at the same time. We need to kind of work in a two-pronged approach, even though when I'm working with clients, I work from like loads of different areas. The client's only really thinking about the food that's going in, but really that food is what's working all of these different sort of hormones, sleep, stress, fat loss, gut health, digestive function, all of those things. So, but it all starts with gut health and it all starts with stress. If we can reduce your stress, and we can improve your gut biome, gut health, gut function, that's going to massively improve your chances of weight loss. It's also going to reduce a lot of the symptoms of things like acid reflux, of things like IBS, like symptoms of low energy, brain fog, fatigue, sugar crashes, all of those things that I mentioned at the beginning. Start at the very, very beginning, and we need to do what I call a gut cleanse. We need to work through something called a gut cleanse, which actually basically takes away all of the foods that you react to, strips them away, and then works to rebuild. So in my program, the gut cleanse, so conveniently named the gut cleanse, we do let me just find the page here so I can read it to you in the right sense. We do a 5-stage approach: eliminate, change, defend, heal, and balance. Now, the thing with the gut cleanse is some people start it and they start it with the best intentions. At the first hurdle, they eat some chocolate or drink some wine or, eat one of the things that's going to trigger them because it's habit. It's so habitual, so normal to do those things that's what people do. And of course, as soon as that happens, as soon as that person eats that food or drinks that drink or does whatever, it doesn't work because you're not giving the gut enough time to heal. You're not giving the gut enough time to rebalance or regenerate cells or rebalance the gut biome or all of the bacteria and all that sort of stuff. So you need to do it for a consistent period of time, at least normally 28 days. And it is challenging. It is challenging to cut away certain things that you eat regularly. But the main point to remember when you're doing the gut cleanse is it's not forever. The changes that you're making are not forever. You're doing it in order to heal the gut. So when you actually get to the end of that particular period of time, you can maybe eat those foods again, but just not all at once, or not all in one day, or all in one go. You can rebuild your body's tolerance to food. So if you have if you're having, like, I don't know, say like a gluten intolerance, or not an intolerance, sorry, but a sensitivity, and every time you eat something with gluten in, you have a bit of a reaction to it. If you were to remove gluten from your diet for a certain period of time, allow the body enough time to heal, regenerate, rebalance, reset, when you go back to that food or that particular, like something with gluten in it, the chances are your body's not going to react as much, if at all. I've done this with some people who've told me they've got really bad intolerances to certain food groups, yet when we've taken them away, let the body relax and heal, they go back to it and they don't react to it anymore. But you've got to do it for a set period of time. You can't go for like 6 days and then have that particular group, like food group, and then go for another 6 days, then have it again, because you're not giving the body a chance to heal. You need to stick with it. And then obviously, like I say, at the end of that period, you start to reintroduce those foods, reestablish the gut biome. That will then allow you to potentially reintroduce those foods. So one of the things I've put, if you are sort of like on the LM Fitness website, is at the bottom it says, "I'm fed up with feeling bloated and tired. I am ready." Now, if you were to click on that link, it's going to take you to a PayPal page. Now, this is to join the gut cleanse. So this is an online program that I run. This is the manual. And the gut cleanse is basically, it's like an online guided group to help you do the whole process of resetting, rebalancing your gut. You get the manual. You get, I don't know if it's 80 something recipes that are healthy for your gut, that are good for your gut balance, gut biome. You get access to the Facebook group. Now, what I'll do is I will put a link, if you bear with me just a moment. I will put a link in the chat box for The words have fallen out of my brain. I will put a link in the chat box for the to the website page for the gut rebalance, the gut cleanse, and then you can have a look at what's included. Now, because obviously we're all working online at the moment because of this crazy coronavirus situation that's going on at the moment, the program is going to be starting on the 6th of April. Okay. Right. So yeah, it's I'll share this. I'll share this link. Copy. Go to here and here. So I've shared that link into the chat box next to this video on the LM Fitness website. And you can go there to find out all the information about the gut cleanse. You can join the gut cleanse. Even if you're one of the people that's done the gut cleanse before, you can do it again if you want to. I'm going to be starting it from the 6th of April. And it's really there to help you rebalance the gut, help you heal the gut, and help you not just understand what might be triggering you, but certainly understand why you might not have been losing as much weight as you'd like, or certainly not feeling as good as you might like over the last however long. So yeah, why you might not be losing weight. So is your gut stopping you from losing weight? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Is your gut stopping you from losing weight? If the answer is yes, if you want to chat to me a little bit more about this, about the program, about the gut reset or the gut cleanse, sorry, then drop me a message. Drop me a message, an email, not YouTube, Facebook message, and have a chat with me. I'm more than happy to talk to people about the program, to see if it's the right thing for you to try. If you want to do it in a group environment, it is an affordable group, an affordable program. It's $32.99. It's not expensive. We're going to be doing the 28-day cleanse, but we're also going to do a preparation week beforehand, and we're also going to do a 2-week reintroduction week. So you're actually getting 7 weeks, 7-week program for $32.99. And you get full coaching and everything with me in the group. So I really hope that that's kind of answered maybe a few questions for you. I hope that I've not rambled too much. My brain is a bit unstable at the moment because of everything I've had to do this week to completely transform the business. But I hope that at least that's given you some idea of things that maybe might help you in terms of balancing the body, balancing the gut, balancing the digestive system, and maybe enable you to actually go forward and change the way you're eating, change some of the things you're eating, look for the foods that are triggering the reactions in your body. And obviously, if they are triggering you in the body, if they are kicking off with you, then what you might be able to do, whether you want to eliminate them, whether you want to reduce them, whether you want to limit them and restrict them. What we don't want to do is do a diet that's long term. Oh, and by the way, when people do the gut cleanse, they do tend to lose weight as well, so that's always good. We don't want to do a long-term diet because they just don't work. They are ineffective. So there. How long have I been talking? Wow, 50 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there because otherwise I'm gonna keep rambling. But I do hope that you have found this information useful. I do hope that there was some nuggets of information in there somewhere that you've been looking for. And by all means, down below on the LM Fitness page, you can check out the you can go and you can either join the gut cleanse, or you can see in the chat box over there that link to the actual gut cleanse, so you can find out all of the information there as well. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you're all staying safe and well. It's a crazy time at the moment, but by all means, if you need to talk to anyone, or you want to have a chat, or you want to do a little bit of fitness, or join one of the fitness classes, by all means, let me know. I'd really welcome any of you guys into the class, into the Zoom classes and things like that. And yeah, job done. Have a wonderful weekend. and I'll speak to you all soon. Take care.